They don't just siphon the water directly out of the reservoir and they're like, drink this.
Does this smell dead to you? History is riddled with unexplained events. You can turn back now or learn the stuff they don't want you to know. Byron says simply, "Hi guys, have you been following the story about the bodies that are turning up at Lake Mead as the water level continues to drop? This might make a good addition to your strange news segment." Byron, you are absolutely right, sir, and you are so right that we're not waiting until next week to do this. We are going to explore it now for just a bit. And as we begin, I want to shout out Brian, in particular. You have been a longtime correspondent of the show. It's always a pleasure to hear from you. As we say, we do read every single email we get. And I don't know if we'll put it on the air this time, but Byron, I was immensely fascinated by your story of dating the ultrasound specialist who was training with cadaverous body parts. The course of true love never did run smooth, as they say. But here we go. This story concerns Lake Mead. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Lake Mead. It's this reservoir formed by the Hoover Dam on the Colorado River, like we discussed in our strange news story. It's about 24 miles east of Vegas as the crows fly. It's huge. It's the biggest reservoir in the U.S. in terms of how much water it can hold. And as the water levels continued dropping, things started coming to the surface. Years ago on Car Stuff, a friend of the show, Scott Benjamin, and I, who are always sneaking in true crime stories on our car show, we looked at the distressing number of vehicles, sometimes with bodies in them, that have been driven to and parked beneath lakes and mighty rivers all across the United States. There are a lot. So many that no one's sure exactly how prevalent it is for people to get an at-lake burial. And that's something Lake Mead is confronting now. So,
well, what about bodies in barrels?
Yes. Yeah. Why ruin a perfectly good car? A barrel was found in Lake Mead, revealed by the receding water, and this barrel had been underwater, quite a long time, possibly as much as 4 decades. So it's been there since the 80s. This wasn't just an empty barrel. This contained a body, and police who were investigating this suspect the person was murdered. They were a homicide victim, and they're guessing that based on other personal items they found in the barrel. At that point, they hadn't really talked about what those items may have been, but it was a steel barrel. It was near the Hemingway fishing pier, and they know that the victim probably died due to a gunshot wound. Based on what they could tell from the clothing, they said he was killed in maybe the early 80s, but maybe as far long ago as the 1970s. And then they found a second body. This one perhaps without foul play. At least that was the statement. I'm getting a lot of this, by the way, from some great reporting over on ABC News. Shout out to Bill Hutchison. Also, some fantastic commentary from the Vegas local subreddit, or also just the Vegas at large subreddit. And it's tough because right now we know that in at least one case, it appears someone murdered someone else and got away with it. I don't know. One of the first questions that I had, which I found the answer for and could be reassuring, is how does this affect water supply, right? Dead bodies are dirty. Could it pose a threat to the 40 million so people who rely on water from the Colorado River and Lake Powell and Lake Mead? The answer is probably not, luckily.
Yeah,
So there's
that stuff gets treated. They don't just siphon the water directly out of the reservoir, and they're like, drink this.
Does this smell dead to you? Yeah, Bobby, it's your week to test the water.
Let's just boil it just to be safe, you know. It's just why risk it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it is weird to think that that's been down there for that long, right? These bodies have been under the water for so long.
I started trying to find a little bit more information about this. At this point, as we're recording, I'm mainly seeing rumors. A lot of them hinging on Vegas's earlier grimy days as a hotbed of organized crime, which, you know, just to be clear, in comparison to a lot of other cities, Vegas still has a ton of organized crime. You know, people are getting away with it. It's a little more white collar.
I thought it was mainly the desert, though, where they like buried people. You know, you take them out in the desert, get them on their knees, shoot them execution style after they make them dig their own shallow grave. Is that what? Come on, where's our respect for the past?
Let me quote in response. First, before I say this, it is a tragedy. People are dead. Someone got away. But let me quote in response a statement by former Las Vegas Mayor Oscar Goodman. The day after the discovery, he said, "There's no telling what we'll find in Lake Mead. It's not a bad place to dump a body." Goodman, by the way, was a defense attorney known for representing mafia figures, including people like Anthony Tony the Ant Spilotro, before he got elected as a mayor who is known for love of martinis. He served 3 terms in Vegas.
Man, I'd love to see Tony the Ant face off against Sammy the Bull. You know, like it seems like a really diminutive mafia nickname. You know, was he just very tiny? What was this? How did he get a nickname like that? Did he have multiple limbs?
Maybe he had mandibles.
Yeah, there you
go. Yeah, that guy knows how many bodies. Although he knows a lot of the bodies that are down there, and the boats and all the other stuff. Oh, that guy.
Yeah, the former mayor Goodman again said he followed up. He was ready to talk about this. He said, "You know, I can't speculate how many bodies might turn up in Lake Mead." That's what he just said. "I'm not going to speculate." And then he said, "I'm relatively sure it was not Jimmy Hoffa." And yeah. And then he also noted that a lot of his former clients, I wasn't expecting this, a lot of his former clients from his mob attorney days were very interested in climate control. Not a euphemism, like fighting climate change. They were conservationists because they wanted to keep the level of the lake up and the bodies underwater.
I thought climate control was just like, you know, central heating and air.
Well, not for the mob, I guess.
Wow.
But you can do the right things for the wrong reasons, right?
It's fair.